Thank you for joining She's Dropping the T-shirt at the front door tarot. I am your sacred magical high chief priest of the Most High God. We're going to get into a blackout movie and listen to how ridiculous this sounds with these karmics that thought that they can get into a group and try to attack somebody that was anointed and someone that was appointed and someone that was called by God. Okay, you got a whole group that thought that they can get in one motherfucker's energy and attack them. But my thing is this: it takes a bunch of cowards to get together in order to attack one motherfucker. It takes a bunch of cowards to do things behind people's back and not come head on face to face to a motherfucker, right? And it takes a coward to get other motherfuckers to team up against somebody. That's all what you got here, okay?
Uneasy,
I don't know.
Cursed.
They cursed. They definitely cursed by their own choices. All of them are cursed by their choices, but it don't take a rocket scientist to figure out that you coming from an anointed one, a royal anointed one, that your outcome was going to be your outcome this whole time. I don't know what you're scratching your head for. I don't know what you're scared for. I don't know why you're clueless about the fact that every fucking chopper attack that a motherfucker tried to do in my energy didn't work. I don't know why you're clueless. I don't know why you're clueless. Like, that doesn't make sense that you're clueless. You should be clueless. You know why you're clueless. Like, especially if you're a heathen. You know why you're clueless. You don't know God and you don't know the power of Him. Period.
The shield you cannot see is the one that terrifies your enemies the most. Chosen one, that's exactly what's happening right now. They are staring at you in disbelief, whispering questions they can't silence. How are they untouchable? Why do our attacks never land? What is this strange power that surrounds them?
What the fuck you think?
Their curiosity has turned into sleepless nights, pacing the floor like prisoners inside their own fear. They once thought you would be easy to break, but the more they pressed, the more they realized there's something invisible keeping you alive, standing tall, and even rising higher. Now imagine this for a moment. Chosen one, your enemies thought they had the perfect plan. Like a group of hunters circling a single target, they aimed every arrow at you. But when they fired, instead of piercing you, those arrows spun mid-air and struck back at them with twice the force. That's why today, the very same people who laughed at you are now covering their wounds, holding their heads in confusion and trembling because they cannot explain what they just witnessed. And here's a fact that no one can deny. When stress, envy, and hatred eat away at someone's body, it shows up in real life. Science has proven that harboring rage and jealousy increases cortisol levels, weakens the immune system, and even accelerates disease. So when your enemies kept pouring poison into their hearts against you, the universe simply made sure they drank from their own cup. That's why they are breaking down, while you're still moving forward stronger than ever. And thank you, Chosen One, for being here right now. Don't forget to return this energy by pressing the like and subscribe, because spreading this message is not just support, it's part of the mission. You're carrying light, and when you help share it, you're proving that you're part of a force bigger than yourself. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for standing as one of the chosen. But let's come back to the truth at hand. People are shocked by the way you're being protected. They've tried everything, from rumors and sabotage to energy meant to break your spirit, but nothing sticks. Every attempt collapses like a sandcastle swept away by the tide. The more they attack, the more it becomes clear that something unseen is surrounding you, redirecting their malice back onto them. They're left asking the same burning questions. What shields this person? Why do they keep rising when logic says they should have fallen? And chosen one, this is the beauty of universal law. The universe doesn't play favorites, but it does respond to balance. When someone tries to disrupt that balance by tearing you down unfairly, it flips the script. What they send out returns multiplied. That's why your enemy's plans backfire like grenades exploding in their own hands. They can't explain why accidents suddenly follow them, why finances slip through their fingers, or why their relationships fall apart at the seams. They only know it began the moment they came against you. See, the protection over your life isn't just a shield, it's a mirror. Whatever energy touches you is reflected right back to the sender. That's why they feel haunted. They see your face when they close their eyes. They hear your name in rooms they don't want it spoken, and they replay their attacks, wondering why everything they tried to destroy only left them more destroyed. It's eating at them because they can't find an answer, and humans hate what they can't explain. Chosen one, your very survival is a mystery to them. You shouldn't have made it this far by their calculation, but here you are, and the universe is making sure you're seen, not hidden. That's why they're gossiping, that's why they're inquiring, that's why they're restless. They want to know what force is standing behind you, and the truth is, it isn't about what's behind you, it's about what's within you. The resilience, the endurance, and the unshakable spirit you carry is what they can't match, no matter how many people they gather against you. And so their questions multiply. Who is this person really? Why does everything fail when we move against them? What is protecting them? They'll keep asking, they'll keep doubting, they'll keep fearing, but the answers will never come because the mystery is part of your protection. They don't deserve to know. They'll only witness from a distance how every attempt to trap you becomes the trap that swallows them instead. Chosen one, this is why people are shocked by your protection, and this is why you must keep walking as you are. The universe has made you untouchable to those who wish you harm, and the more they try, the more questions they'll have, with fewer answers to comfort them. Chosen one, before we go deeper, I want you to pause for a moment and feel this energy. People are shocked by the protection around you, and the questions they whisper in the dark are proof that you are walking a rare path. If you've ever felt that force covering you when you should have been broken, then this message is for you. So drop a comment below with the number 777 to seal your place in this conversation. And if you feel called, bless this mission with your support. Every little act, whether it's a like, a share, or a gift, keeps this light moving through the world, fueling a message that enemies wish would stay hidden. Your energy is the reason these truths can reach more souls like you. And trust me, if you are truly chosen, you'll feel the pull to stay with me until the end, because what's coming will confirm why they are restless, why they are panicking, and why the universe will keep shielding you no matter what. So take a breath, chosen one. Let's dive into it step by step, and let the truth unfold before your very eyes. Number 1. Knives don't come from strangers, they come from the hands you once held. The cruelest wound is not struck by an enemy in the open, but by the friend who smiled while sharpening the blade. Chosen one, this truth cuts deep because you've lived it. The betrayal didn't come from the loud voices outside your circle. It came from the quiet ones who sat at your table, laughed with you, called you family, and pretended their loyalty was unshakable. And yet, while you trusted them with your heart, they were busy carving maps of your weaknesses, marking every vulnerable spot like a hunter sketching the anatomy of prey. They weren't watching you to admire you. They were watching you to find the crack where they could drive in their knife. That's the brutality of betrayal. It isn't an attack from a stranger. It's the destruction plotted in secret by someone you once called safe. Now imagine this, chosen one. You're walking across a battlefield, but you don't see your enemies in front of you with weapons drawn. Instead, the one walking beside you suddenly turns, pulls back their smile, and reveals the blade they've been hiding the whole time. That's the feeling of betrayal, confusing, disorienting, and devastating, because it rips apart the very foundation of trust you thought was unbreakable. And this is why it hits harder than any outside attack. When enemies strike, you expect it. When friends betray, the universe itself feels shaken. But here's where the story turns. They thought they were clever. They thought you'd never notice. They believed their mask was flawless. Yet betrayal always leaks through. It poisons their tone. It warps their eyes. It slips in their fake laughter that doesn't quite reach the soul. And chosen one, your intuition, the same gift that made you the one the universe guards, picked up on those signals even before your conscious mind understood what was happening. The unease you felt, those sleepless nights, the subtle chills around their presence, it wasn't paranoia. It was protection, warning you that a knife was being hidden behind a handshake. Let's make it clear. Betrayal doesn't just hurt because of what they did. It hurts because of who did it. You gave them access to your life. You let them close enough to hear your laughter, close enough to see your tears. And they weaponized that intimacy. They wrote down your schedule not because they cared, but because they needed to know when you were most vulnerable. They asked about your dreams not to encourage you, but to aim their arrows at them. Every piece of kindness you gave them became a piece of ammunition in their secret war. And yet, chosen one, here you stand, not destroyed, but more dangerous than ever, because their betrayal has forced you into a level of awareness that they will never recover from. And let's not miss this. Betrayal is always rooted in envy. People don't sabotage what they don't feel threatened by. If you were ordinary, if you were forgettable, they wouldn't have wasted their energy shadowing your every move.
Buy the new Old Spice NFL collection at Walmart today.
Keep summer going with the Nissan Rogue.
But you weren't ordinary. You carried light, protection, and the unshakable will to keep moving forward. That's why they betrayed you. Not because you were weak, but because you were too strong. It's envy that drove them. A venom so corrosive, it blinded them into thinking they could outsmart universal law. Here's a fact for you. Studies in psychology show that betrayal from someone close causes a level of trauma similar to physical assault. Your brain struggles to process it because trust is a survival mechanism. We're wired to rely on our inner circle for safety. When that trust is shattered, your body responds with shock, your mind with disbelief, your heart with grief. And yet, chosen one, you transform that trauma into fuel. They thought their betrayal would weaken you, but instead, it sharpened you. They created a soldier out of a soul they thought they could crush. Now picture this. Betrayal is like setting fire to a house while still standing inside it. They thought they were burning you, but all they did was choke themselves with smoke, scorch their own skin, and leave themselves homeless in the ashes. That's why today, the very ones who betrayed you are restless, uneasy, cursed by their own choices. They can't escape the consequences because betrayal carries a weight the universe never ignores. You can recover from being attacked by strangers, but betraying someone protected is like writing your own downfall with your bare hands. And I know a question rises in your mind, chosen one. Why would someone so close choose betrayal? Why would they risk everything just to destroy me? The answer is brutal, but it's simple. They thought you wouldn't survive. They thought their mask was too convincing. They thought they could strip you down to nothing while smiling in your face. But what they didn't account for is the force surrounding you. Every knife they drove into your back became the key that opened a new door for you. Every trap they set for you became the pit they fell into themselves. That's the irony. Betrayal doesn't break the chosen, it breaks the betrayer. And chosen one, don't forget this truth. People who betray never sleep peacefully again. They see your face in their guilt. They hear your voice in their conscience. They feel the weight of what they did in the silence of the night. You may heal and move on, but they remain shackled to the crime they committed. That's why they're constantly asking questions about you now. Why are they still standing? Why do they keep winning? Why isn't our betrayal enough to finish them? Those questions haunt them because your survival exposes their failure. You survived the sharpest knife. You endured the coldest betrayal, and instead of becoming bitter, you became unshakable. That's what terrifies them the most. They didn't just fail to break you, they made you stronger, smarter, and untouchable. And the universe made sure their betrayal became their curse. So understand this, chosen one, betrayal is never the end of your story. It's the beginning of their downfall and your transformation. Let their knives remind you not of your weakness, but of your strength. Let their envy remind you that you are carrying something worth betraying. And let their downfall remind you that the universe will never let treachery go unanswered. They tried to betray you quietly, but now their screams of regret are louder than their whispers of lies ever were. You've won, chosen one, not because you fought them, but because the protection over you turned their betrayal into their own execution. And as they lie restless, asking questions they'll never have answers to, you walk forward, unbothered, untouchable, and chosen. Number 2. When enemies gather, the universe counts their every whisper. Conspiracies don't start with strangers. They begin when cowards need company to hide their weakness. Chosen one, betrayal was already cruel, but what followed made it monstrous. It wasn't just one person plotting in silence, it was a group. Your enemies couldn't stand alone, so they gathered like rats in the dark, hoping their numbers would give them strength. They formed circles, exchanged secrets, and built their schemes as if they were war generals. But the truth? Their army was nothing more than a coalition of fear, envy, and desperation. And the moment they came together, the universe already began counting their every whisper like evidence in a trial. Imagine this for a moment. Chosen one, picture a table in a dimly lit room, the curtains drawn, the air thick with smoke. They lean close, voices lowered, speaking your name as if summoning destruction. They map out strategies, deciding who will play which role in tearing you down. One offers to spread lies, another to watch your movements, another to stab at your resources. To them, it feels powerful. To them, it feels unstoppable. But they don't realize that above their heads, unseen to their eyes, the universe records every word like a court reporter writing down testimony. They thought secrecy made them invisible. In reality, they exposed themselves to the very law they tried to defy. Those who conspire in shadows forget that the universe itself is light. Their plan wasn't original. It was recycled envy wrapped in cowardice. They assumed that if enough voices cursed your name, if enough hands joined against you, they could overwhelm the force protecting you. This is where their arrogance revealed itself.
All they
They
did was curse a
confused
whole bunch of
numbers with
motherfuckers
power.
instead of
They believed
just one
quantity
motherfucker.
could crush quality. But chosen one, let me tell you, when someone is protected, an entire army of enemies will still fall like dominoes. Numbers mean nothing when the universe has already chosen the outcome. And yet, I know the question rises in your heart, why so many? Why would people who barely know me gather to see me fall? The answer is both brutal and simple. Weakness seeks company. A single envious person feels fragile, but when they find another carrying the same bitterness, they join forces like predators hunting in packs. Their conspiracy wasn't about strategy, it was about validation. They needed each other to believe the lie that they could take you down. Alone, they doubted themselves. Together, they convinced themselves of power. But power built on spite is a fire without oxygen. It burns fast and dies quicker. Now imagine this, chosen one. Think of a spider's web spun in the dark corner of a room. Multiple spiders crawling in, weaving their lines, tightening the threads to trap you. From their perspective, the web looks impossible to escape. But then, the universe intervenes. It sends a storm. A single gust of wind tears down their fragile creation, leaving them scrambling, their legs broken by the very strands they tried to use against you. That's what their conspiracy was. Fragile threads that collapsed the moment truth blew through. Conspiracies are the last refuge of the powerless. They thought the universe was blind, but nothing in secret stays hidden. Every meeting they held, every message they exchanged, every smirk they shared when speaking your name, documented in a realm they cannot touch. And when evidence is gathered, sentencing follows. They assumed they were the judges, writing your fate, but they were only defendants, building their own case, walking themselves step by step into a judgment they can't appeal. Here's a fact that burns. History shows us conspiracies have always failed against those protected by higher order. Empires plotted in whispers, rulers schemed in back rooms, but the ones they targeted often rose stronger, while the conspirators were buried by their own designs. That's because universal law is unshakable. No amount of collective hatred can override balance. What they tried wasn't just rebellion against you, chosen one. It was rebellion against the very rules that govern cause and effect. And rebellion against that law always ends in self-destruction. Now imagine this. Picture them sitting in a room, confident, smirking as they toast to your downfall. And then fast forward a few months. One loses their job, another faces a health crisis, another's reputation shatters, another watches their finances vanish. Like dominoes falling, their lives crumble in eerie alignment with the moment they raise their hands against you. They can't connect the dots because denial blinds them. But chosen one, you see it clearly. The conspiracy didn't curse you, it cursed them. Every whisper against you became a chain around their own neck. They believed they were invisible. They believed their plans were airtight. But invisibility is a myth when you stand against someone the universe is invested in. They didn't just fight you. They declared war on balance itself. And balance always restores itself, brutally, decisively, and without apology. And I know another question lingers in your mind. Why didn't the universe stop them from even starting? The answer is this. Because their conspiracy wasn't meant to end you, it was meant to expose them. Had they never moved against you, their true nature might have remained hidden. You might have kept walking with them, thinking they were allies. But the conspiracy forced their masks to fall. They revealed themselves in the act of scheming. And now, chosen one, you're free of illusions, standing sharper and wiser than ever. Think of it like this. Conspiracies are like storms. They rage, they roar, they scatter debris everywhere. But when the storm passes, the sky clears and the air becomes fresher. You didn't just survive their storm. You came out breathing cleaner air, walking with clearer vision, and surrounded by fewer snakes. Their conspiracy became your purification. They planned your destruction, but ended up writing their own obituary. That's the brutal irony. Every whisper, every smirk, every shadow meeting was not a step closer to your fall, but a nail hammered into their own coffin. And chosen one, your survival is the proof. You're still here, rising higher, while they shrink into obscurity, haunted by the sound of their own plotting.
This is so comforting. You should try eating them. Peanut butter M&Ms.
This is a hot flash. This is a not flash. This.
So let the truth settle in your heart. The conspiracy wasn't your downfall, it was your unveiling. It exposed enemies pretending to be friends. It revealed cowards who needed crowds to feel strong. And it proved that nothing planned in darkness can stand against someone walking with protection. They built their case, but the universe judged them guilty. And now, chosen one, their whispers echo back as screams of regret, while you walk forward untouched, untouchable, and undeniable. Number 3. When hate fails, they turn to the shadows. When envy can't touch you in daylight, it crawls into the night and feeds on fire and blood. Chosen one, this is how far they went. When gossip, lies, and sabotage failed to dent you, they crossed into territories most people would never dare. They thought cruelty wrapped in ritual could succeed where their ordinary schemes had collapsed. They became thieves of your essence, collecting pieces of your life, like criminals gathering evidence for a crime. Hair from your brush, clothes you once wore, photos where your smile shone. They turned these into weapons, as if objects could wound the spirit they could never break face to face. Now imagine this for a moment. A group of bitter souls huddled around a candlelit table, your picture pinned down like prey, whispers curling into the air like smoke. They believe their chants carry power, stabbing effigies, dripping wax, drawing blood. To them, it feels like warfare, but in truth, it's a child throwing stones at a mountain, desperate, blind, and powerless. The mountain does not move, only the child bruises their own hands. Dark rituals are nothing but desperation dressed up as power. And here's the fact. Psychologists have long noted that people who feel powerless often resort to extreme, irrational behaviors to feel in control. That's exactly what this was. Powerless people turning to shadows because the light of your resilience blinded them. Their candles couldn't dim you. Instead, the flames illuminated their own madness. Some even descended deeper, offering sacrifices in their frenzy, blood spilled on crude altars, animals killed in your name, possessions burned as offerings to forces they barely understood.
That is crazy.
But here's the brutal truth. Chosen one. When you invite darkness, you don't control it. It controls you. What they summoned didn't chain you, it devoured them. They opened doors they couldn't close, and now those shadows they begged for power follow them, clawing at their sanity, whispering in their ears at night. They thought they were cursing you, but they were only tattooing their own souls with scars they can never erase. You stand here untouched, proof that their rituals were empty, their curses powerless, their blood sacrifices wasted. They thought your protection was something they could override with fear, but protection at your level isn't fragile, it's absolute. They burned themselves in the fires they lit for you, and the ashes are all they have left. Chosen One, let their madness be your confirmation. If they had to stoop this low, it's because your light was too high, and nothing they pulled from the shadows could ever dim it. Number 4. When their knives boomerang back, you rise higher. The curse you throw at a chosen one is nothing but a mirror. Whatever you send returns doubled, and it always finds its way home. Chosen one, this is the part that leaves them shaking. Every ritual, every curse, every act of darkness hurled at you didn't land. It bounced back. Like a boomerang, the energy they aimed became the weapon that struck them. They tried to send storms, but the lightning only hit their own roofs. They tried to bury you in pits, but ended up falling into the very holes they dug. And here you are, not just standing, but thriving. That is the mystery haunting their nights. How is it possible that the harder they attacked, the stronger you became? Now imagine this. Think of fire being poured on seeds. To most, it would seem destructive, but to certain seeds, like those in the wild, it activates growth. That's you, chosen one. Their fire was supposed to burn you, but instead it cracked open new power inside you. They thought they were starving you, but their very attempts became nourishment. The more venom they spat, the more the universe refined you, until you rose sharper, brighter, untouchable. The energy of your enemies is the fuel of your elevation. And here's the fact. Stress and resistance, scientifically, create resilience. Muscles don't grow without pressure. Diamonds aren't formed without crushing force. In the same way, their attacks became your training ground, sculpting you into someone they can no longer recognize. They stare at you now and whisper, how did they survive? Why are they glowing when we tried to dim them? The answer is simple. The universe reversed everything in real time. And chosen one, understand this clearly. Reversal is not survival, it's transformation. You didn't just dodge their blows, you turned them into blessings. You took poison and converted it into medicine. You took darkness and made it light. That's why they're horrified, because they've never seen anyone flip attacks into ascension. Their curses became your confirmations.
Use
Their
it as a
hatred
stairway
became your
all
harvest.
the way to heaven.
Their obsession became the very proof that you are untouchable. So let this sink in. Every time they thought they were breaking you, the universe was actually building you. They thought they had the power to end you, but all they did was supply the energy for your rise. And now, chosen one, they're left staring at the brutal truth. Nothing they send can stop you. It only makes you more unstoppable. Number 5. When the hunters realized the prey was untouchable. The moment fear replaces confidence, the predator becomes the prey. Chosen one, panic is the sound your enemies make when their weapons turn useless. They thought their schemes were airtight, their rituals ancient, their methods proven. Yet every attack they launched dissolved before it touched you. Every curse they chanted snapped back like a whip against their own skin. And instead of watching you collapse, they watched you glow brighter, stronger, more alive. That confusion spread through them like ice water in their veins. Why aren't they breaking? Why are they rising? The questions became a drumbeat in their minds, pounding day and night with no answer in sight. Now imagine this, an army charging toward a fortress with all its might, only to discover the walls are made of steel, reinforced by forces they cannot see. Their weapons shatter, their morale crumbles, and suddenly the attackers feel smaller than the one they thought was weak. That's exactly what happened. They believed you were defenseless, but the closer they came, the more they realized they were walking into a territory protected by an authority far beyond their reach. Panic is born when lies collide with unshakable truth. And the truth was simple. You were untouchable. Every attempt to reduce you only amplified your strength. Every curse they crafted became another piece of evidence that you were chosen for resilience. So what did they do? Desperate for explanations, they dug deeper into shadows, crawling to darker practitioners, promising greater sacrifices, and selling more of their dignity to forces that only deal in blood and fear. But here's the brutal irony. The very entities they begged for help recoiled at your presence. Some were destroyed upon contact, shattered like glass meeting a hammer. Others fled in terror, howling as they retreated. And before leaving, they turned on their summoners with rage. You deceived us. Payment is still required. Now we're angry. Imagine the horror in your enemy's eyes at that moment. They thought they had bought power, but instead they bought chains. They thought they were summoning allies, but instead they summoned executioners. When the shadows realize they cannot touch the light, they devour the hands that fed them. That's why your enemies are restless now, trembling not just from failure, but from the punishment chasing them. They set the trap, but they are the ones caught. And you, chosen one, walk forward untouched, while their panic grows into their prison. Number 6. When blood turns poison, betrayal cuts the deepest.
The Tempur-Pedic Adapt mattress was designed to help make aches and pains a thing of the past, because only Tempur material eases your pressure points in a way no other mattress can. Don't miss our biggest sale of the year with savings up to $600 on select adjustable mattress sets.
I want a color that makes me feel more like myself.
I'm on it. Trash come.
What story will you tell?
Hey, how about you? You want to play me one-on-one? Let's go.
Strangers can wound your body, but only family can stab straight into your soul. Chosen one, few things hit harder than realizing the knife in your back was held by blood. The ones who should have been your shield, the ones who shared your name, your home, your history, turned against you. A relative, bound by nature's law to love you, chose instead to sell you. They exchanged loyalty for envy, traded love for jealousy, and betrayed you not to survive, but to satisfy their hunger for what you carried. Now imagine this for a moment. You sit at a family table, the air filled with laughter, stories, and memories, and across from you sits someone smiling, nodding, playing their role perfectly, while inside they are memorizing your weaknesses, planning when to strike. They know your traumas because they lived them with you. They know your secrets because you once trusted them. And in the shadows, they hand over pieces of your life, like coins, to be spent in rituals against you. That's the cruelty of family betrayal. It's not random, it's intimate. Blood doesn't always mean loyalty. Sometimes it's the camouflage of the enemy. They timed their treachery with precision, waiting for moments when your guard was down, when your emotions were raw. They justified it with twisted logic. Why should they shine brighter? Why should they have what I don't? Why not take from them what the universe gave? It wasn't love that drove them. It was resentment. Resentment so deep it convinced them that hurting you was fair, And yet, chosen one, betrayal of this magnitude never ends with them walking free. By selling you out, they didn't just break trust, they broke their own bloodline. Universal law is ruthless when family turns against family. They planted curses not just in their own lives, but in the lives of their children. That's why money slips through their fingers like sand. That's why sickness spreads through their house like smoke. That's why their descendants inherit burdens they never asked for. Because betrayal of a chosen one doesn't just stain the betrayer, it stains the lineage. When family sells you, they don't just trade you, they trade their own future. And now, chosen one, you walk forward while their house crumbles. Their children carry the weight of choices they never made. Their health collapses under the pressure of their treachery, and their lives unravel piece by piece. You didn't curse them, their betrayal did. And the universe made sure that price is paid in bloodline, not just in body. Number 7. When death refused its assignment. The deadliest weapon is useless when it trembles in the hands meant to wield it. Chosen one, this is the part of your story that sounds like fiction to anyone who hasn't lived your reality. When betrayal from so-called friends failed, when family's venom fell flat, and when rituals crumbled, they reached for their last card, an assassin. Not just anyone, but a professional with a reputation built on precision and ruthlessness, someone who had never failed before. To your enemies, it was the perfect solution. If nothing else works, surely this will. But what happened next turned their confidence into horror. Now imagine this. A killer approaches with intent sharper than any blade, with eyes trained only on the end. They've done this countless times, carried out missions without hesitation. But when they drew near you, something unseen slammed into their spirit. Their heartbeat betrayed them. Their hands began to tremble. The weapon they once controlled suddenly felt heavier than stone, as if the universe itself gripped their wrists. Every step closer became agony. Every breath tasted like fear. They came to kill, but instead, dread swallowed them whole. Even death bows in the presence of protection it cannot override. That's the truth they discovered. The mission wasn't just difficult, it was impossible. Their body revolted against the very thought of touching you. Instinct screamed, "Don't do it, walk away." They realized something their employers never told them. You weren't ordinary, you weren't unguarded. You were surrounded by an energy that made death itself recoil. And here's the brutal irony. Instead of becoming your destroyer, the assassin became your unintentional witness. Their failure wasn't silence, it was testimony. They carried back the unspoken truth to those who sent them. This one cannot be touched. Not by me, not by anyone. In that moment, even the darkest hand they could hire transformed into another layer of your protection. The attempt to end you became proof that you cannot be ended. And chosen one, that's what drives your enemies mad. They threw everything they had, betrayal, blood, curses, knives, and still nothing worked. Not even death itself could cross your borders. You walked away untouched, while the ones who plotted are left speechless, broken, and terrified of a force they will never understand. Number 8. When thieves tried to rob destiny and lost everything. You can forge papers, but you can't forge fate. Chosen one, as if betrayal, conspiracies, and failed assassinations weren't enough, they went after what was rightfully yours. They weren't satisfied with trying to break you. They wanted to strip you of your inheritance. The inheritance wasn't just money or property. It was the totality of what the universe preserved for you. Wealth, opportunities, authority, ancestral blessings, everything that carries your name stamped into it by law, higher than their reach. So they turned desperate. Fraudulent documents appeared, signatures were forged with shaking hands, lies were dressed up as legal truth. They whispered in offices, bribed officials, and even schemed to have you declared incompetent so they could walk off with what was meant for you. In their twisted logic, they thought, if we can't destroy them, let's erase their claim. Let's steal their crown. Now imagine this for a moment. A thief creeping into a vault at night, grinning as they stretch out their hand to grab the treasures inside. But the moment their fingers touch the gold, alarms explode, floodlights blind them, and doors slam shut behind them. That's exactly what happened. They thought they were stealing from you, but all they did was lock themselves inside a prison built by their own greed. Greed blinds a thief into believing they can outwit the universe, but universal law keeps better records than any courtroom. Every fraudulent act they committed was documented, not just on paper, but in a realm they cannot erase. Evidence piled against them until even earthly authorities had no choice but to expose the truth. Their schemes crumbled in courtrooms, contracts flipped back into your favor, and every attempt to rob you became another confirmation that you were protected. Here's the fact. History is full of cases where fraud looks convincing for a season, but collapses under scrutiny. Lies don't last long in light, and chosen one, their lies against you collapsed faster than they expected. Not only did they fail, but their very attempts expanded your blessings. What they thought would erase your inheritance actually multiplied it. Doors opened that they never wanted you to see. Wealth shifted into your hands in ways they couldn't block. They reached for your crown, but ended up kneeling before your throne. That's the brutal reality haunting them now. The inheritance they tried to steal only became heavier in your favor, while their names rot under the weight of fraud, shame, and failure.
Your kid's bedtime have you running circles? I'm Luke, with a bowl of fruity sweetness. Want cereal? It's the spot.
OMG.
Yeah, the Chart House from Value City. It's the perfect mix of classic design and everyday practicality. And it has a secret.
Ooh, I love secrets.
It has not one, but two hidden self-storing leaves.
I'm terrible at keeping secrets.
Number 9. The truth they can't swallow. You were never within their reach. You can't cage a storm, and you can't curse what was never built on your level. Chosen one, here's the truth that burns in the hearts of your enemies like acid. You were never within their reach. They spent sleepless nights whispering your name, plotting your downfall, throwing curses like stones at the sky, only to discover the sky never flinched. That's what terrifies them. They thought you were human prey they could corner. Instead, they stumbled upon someone operating at a frequency they can't even comprehend. Now imagine this for a moment. Waves crashing, winds roaring, ships lost in chaos, and above it all, a lighthouse standing tall, untouched, shining its beam through the storm. That's you. Their storms raged violently, but they couldn't touch your foundation. You weren't just surviving. You were standing above it all, guiding yourself forward, while their boats sank in the very waters they stirred. Their magic was paper, your energy was fire. It burned before it reached you. They tried rituals that to them felt ancient, powerful, and dangerous. But to you, they were nothing but children playing with sticks, pretending to wield thunder. Every curse shattered before it touched you. Every spell dissolved like smoke in the wind. Their rituals were too weak, their hatred too small, their plots too childish to leave even a scratch. And here's the fact. Psychology shows that when people can't explain why someone keeps winning, they create myths, they exaggerate, they whisper, they must be something more. That's what your enemies are doing now. They don't understand why you keep rising, so they invent stories, elevate your mystery, and feed their own fear. The irony? Their fear becomes your shield. The more they believe you're untouchable, the more powerless they become in your presence. You weren't made to fit inside their traps. You were made to prove their traps were illusions. And that's the real truth about you. You exist on a level where their curses cannot climb, where their envy cannot breathe. You're not bound by the laws they tried to weaponize against you. You're the exception that proves their weakness. And that's why they tremble whenever your name is spoken, because deep down they know the truth. You were never theirs to defeat. Number 10. When their poison became their own cup. The curse you pour out for another always drips back into your own veins. Chosen one, nothing cuts deeper than watching your enemies sink into the very traps they dug for you. Every curse, every ritual, every smear of darkness they sent your way didn't just miss, it backfired with a vengeance. Their sickness became their own. Their confusion twisted their minds until they could no longer tell reality from delusion. Their pain became a constant shadow, clinging to them day and night like a chain they can't shake off. And the most brutal part, their suffering came with no clear explanation. Medical charts stamped with unknown cause, doctors shaking their heads, families watching helplessly. What they sent to you became their inheritance. Now imagine this. A venomous snake lunges at its prey, but miscalculates, sinking its own fangs into its flesh. That's your enemies. The venom they prepared for you ran through their own bloodstream, and no antidote exists for the poison of betrayal. When you play with shadows, you eventually become one. Their spiritual crimes bled into the physical world. Fraud, theft, identity violations, what they thought would stay hidden in the dark, dragged them into courtrooms, lawsuits, and public shame. They didn't just face cosmic justice, they faced earthly judgment too. The universe doesn't miss. It strikes in every dimension, leaving no escape route. And chosen one, their punishment didn't stop with them. The parasites they summoned, the entities they begged for power, didn't leave when their rituals failed. They stayed, they clung, they attached themselves to their families like hungry leeches, feeding generation after generation. Their own children, innocent of the act, now bear the weight of curses their parents unleashed. That's the cost of playing with powers they never understood. They cursed your bloodline, but blessed it instead. This is the irony that eats them alive. The very energy they designed to destroy you awakened blessings in your lineage. Dormant gifts lit up in family members who never knew they carried them. Spiritual strength rose like fire in veins that were once quiet. Where they expected decay, the universe planted growth. Where they wanted collapse, legacy was born. So while their bloodline suffers under shadows they cannot escape, yours flourishes. And that, chosen one, is the final proof. The backfire wasn't just justice, it was transformation. They scripted their own downfall while scripting your rise. Number 11. When survival turns into legend. They tried to write your ending, but the universe turned it into the first chapter of your legend. Chosen One, your story didn't just stay within the walls of those who plotted against you. It spread, like fire leaping from house to house. Word of your survival carried far beyond your circle. Spiritual communities whispered about you. Seers used your name as an example. Other chosen ones drew strength from your resilience. You became living proof that protection is real, that curses can flip into blessings, that no amount of plotting can bury what the universe has raised. Now imagine this. A village gathers around a fire at night, elders telling stories of a warrior who could not be defeated. The children listen wide-eyed, inspired by the thought of someone who turned every attack into fuel. That's you, Chosen One. You became that story in real time. The very people who expected to watch you collapse now have to live with the humiliation of watching your name grow wings, spreading beyond their reach, turning into a beacon for others who thought survival was impossible. Legends aren't born in peace, they're forged in war. And the battles you faced, the betrayals, conspiracies, curses, and failed assassinations became the fire that sculpted your legend. Instead of breaking you, they branded you into history. People now look at you not just as a survivor, but as someone who flipped darkness into abundance. And here's the fact. Opportunity flows to those whose stories inspire. That's why, suddenly, resources started appearing. Wealth shifted in your direction. Doors opened without you even knocking. It looked orchestrated, and in truth, it was. The universe arranged for everything they used against you to become seed for your rise. Their curses became your currency. Their attacks became your advertisements. Their hatred became the soil where your victories bloomed. They wanted you erased, but instead, you became unforgettable. Your victory transformed into a legend, one that not only silenced your enemies, but lifted others who now believe in their own strength because of you. And as your story spreads, so does your abundance. You didn't just win, you became the living proof that no enemy, no ritual, no betrayal can stop what the universe has chosen to rise. Number 12. When the dust settled, only you remained. The war they waged against you became the fire that burned them alive and crowned you victorious. Chosen One, when you look back now, the pattern is crystal clear. Every betrayal wasn't a setback, it was a spotlight. Each time someone turned on you, their mask slipped, their true nature was revealed, and the universe cleared your path of hidden snakes. Every attempt to steal what was yours only expanded your inheritance, multiplying blessings they could never touch. And every attack, no matter how vicious, only made you harder to break, sharper to see, and stronger to stand. Now imagine this, a chessboard scattered with pieces. Your enemies thought they were cornering your king, setting traps and planning checkmate. But with every move, their own pieces fell. One by one, they sacrificed themselves until the board was nearly empty, and you were the only one left standing. That's the inevitable outcome of their war. They weren't just defeated, they consumed themselves. Their envy turned to rot, their rituals backfired, their alliances collapsed. They didn't just lose, they imploded. Every enemy who set fire to your name ended up choking on their own smoke. And here's the fact, history always favors the resilient. Those who endure longer than the storm always inherit the aftermath. That's you, Chosen One. You didn't just survive, you rose into everything you were meant to be. You became proof that resilience is unstoppable when backed by universal law. Your enemies are gone, scattered, irrelevant. Their voices no longer matter. The war is finished, and the victory is yours. not because you fought harder, but because you were built to withstand everything they couldn't. That's the ultimate irony. Their obsession with destroying you became the very engine that lifted you into your destiny. The fact that you are still here is the loudest victory song the universe could ever write. You are chosen, you are protected, and you are destined to rise beyond imagination. The war is over, chosen one, and the battlefield tells the story loud and clear. Your enemies are dust, and you are the legend that remains. Chosen one, if this message struck your spirit, let it remind you that no attack, no betrayal, no darkness has the power to erase you. Your very existence is proof of unstoppable protection and strength. And if you haven't already pressed that like button to keep this energy flowing, and if you're...
Like, share, thumb up the video. I am your sacred, magical, high chief priest of the Most High God. Come to give it to you. Okay? Alright? One love, one love. Thumb up the video. I appreciate you. I'll be back shortly.